Well, hello, 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 my Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, satisfying, sexual, intimate, romantic, soulmate contract read. I am your reader. Whew, that is a mouthful. I am your reader, Mark Angelo Lyons. Mal for short, president of Drawing the Circle Productions, professional witch, professional intuitive, and Venus in Libra sign. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're new to my channel, please do like, subscribe, hit that notification bell because I'm one of the fun ones. I'm the fun one on YouTube here in terms of these readings, able to deliver guidance and grace with a little sunny, a little funny, a little gay. You with me? Cool, cool, cool. Let's get down to biz, shall we? This is a general reading for the Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs in their soulmate contracts, so please take what resonates and then check your other signs. I'm pretty good at keeping these informative and entertaining enough that even if they go a little long, that you're learning and growing and healing as you go. Cool, cool. So by all means, you know, feel what works for you. Getting complete accuracy in a general read is really tricky to do, but that's why I am also available for private readings. All that info is in the description box below. Like I said, professional intuitive. This is how I pay my bills, darling. I've been doing it a very, very long time. So keep in mind, this is a soulmate contract read. A soulmate is a kind of soul contract, the foundation of which is two beings help each other heal. That's what a soulmate contract is. There are a couple of links in the description box defining twin flame and soulmate and soul contracts of different kinds. You might want to check those out just so you sort of get the descriptions that I'm working with here. And nor are every soulmate contract romantic sexual. My mom and I are soulmates. We help each other heal. We have really since before I was even born. That being said, these are the romantic, intimate, sexual types because those tend to be the ones most people want to know about, and I get that. But they also tend to be the trickiest, right? The ones that we're sort of hoping for. I mean, parental relationships are tricky enough. Family relationships, employment relationships, right? Friends, all of that, ups and downs. But it's the romantic sexual one. We've only gotten the term codependence in the past 50 years or so. So, you know, lifetime after lifetime we've been working on this one. And it feels like the more healthier romantic, sexual, intimate relationships we have on the planet, the more that's going to bless the quantum field and bring more peace and love to this planet. So it's not like it's completely selfish. As you help each other heal in the contracts, because we are all one, unity consciousness, as one of us heals, all of us heal. So really the soulmates do fit into a larger divine plan of things. They're not just about making you happy, because when have they ever? That being said, we are going to be looking at this like a contract, dealing with party number 1 and party number 2 as divine feminine on this side, divine masculine on this side. The two people in the contract. It is not about bodily gender. It's not about X chromosomes or any of that. I myself am considered a divine feminine. I'm a gay male who's an intuitive professionally and a witch and a goddess worshiper and all that stuff. So, yeah, divine feminine. So, if you will focus on your breath as we go, as will I. Being conscious of the breath keeps you in the present moment so we don't drift away. I tangent like crazy anyway. It's a good idea. I've had a bit of coffee before this reading. I've got it there. Should I need a re-up, it's right there. So the more that I can be aware of my breath, the more I can tune to the still point where the guidance and grace always flows from the present moment, right? To get you what you need to know about this contract, at least for March 2020 or timeless. Cool. Let's get down to business. Nice deep breath, please. All the decks that I read are in the description box all the way at the bottom. I got some other cool stuff in there, some links you might want to check out to the books that I've written and some VIMEO on-demand classes that I've taught available for purchase, unlimited views. But we're going to start with the Caroline Myss archetype deck. 2 cards, one for the Divine Feminine, one for the Divine Masculine. Watch how I make it my own. Breathe. We'll start with the collective pantheons of the divine with which I work. My pantheons. Oh, my collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, 2 cards, one for the Divine Feminine, one for the Divine Masculine in this Libra collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, romantic, sexual, soulmate, satisfying contract, please, for March 2020, or timeless whenever they're going to watch this. Please, can I have 1 card to represent the Divine Feminine in this contract, and 1 to represent the Divine Masculine in this contract? Thank you so very much, my Divine Pantheons. Let's see who we got here. Keeping in mind that archetypes are neutral, meaning that particularly how these cards were designed, they written on them are the shadow attribute and the light attribute. If you like the toxic, that's moving towards the healthy. The lead, that goes to gold, right? Through a personal process of alchemy. The shadow is supposed to be triggering because it's stuff you don't want to look at within yourself or in another or even in society. But that's what the soulmate contract, you're helping each other heal. So it's nice to know what you're walking into the contract with, whether you've met each other or not, right? So let's see. Oh, very interesting. Two masculine family archetypes. So remember, we all have masculine and feminine energy, right? But for the Divine Feminine, we've got the Prince archetype, which is very interesting. And for the Divine Masculine, we have the King. So not just 2 masculine archetypes, 2 royals, which is very rare. I mean, occasionally you'll get the Queen and the King. That's a balance. But I think you'll dig this a lot. So for the Divine Feminine, the Prince archetype. So what I love about the Prince I have the Prince archetype. I actually have it in Libra, which is interesting. Oh, so this could be me. The Divine Feminine with the Prince archetype. That is me. Oh, shit. First card down. The shadow attribute, using power for self-aggrandizement. And I'll tell you, in the 80s and the 90s, I certainly did. But you grow out of that as you move in towards the light attribute, romantic charm and potential for power. Now, potential for power and romantic charm is a lovely thing, but if that potential never becomes kinetic, right, it's a masculine yang family of archetypes. So there needs to be an expression here to put that potential for power into action in some expressive way, even though we're dealing with a Divine Feminine, which tends to be more yin, more receptive. I don't want to say passive. Receptive is really more the word lunar, right? Reflective rather than solar active. So that's very interesting. With the King archetype for the Divine Masculine, I'm going to say before I even read this, I'm in the United States. We don't like kings, and yet there are a whole lot of people acting like they're kings, right? And we are a democracy here. So the United States was not based on a royalty system. That's why we have democracy. So kings can get away with a lot in this country, but not forever. Like sooner or later, they get deposed. So be careful, the Divine Masculine with this King archetype. You'll hear it in the shadow, right? The shadow attribute. Excessive feelings of entitlement. Rulership without restraint. I'm not even going there right now. The example's popping into my third eye because I don't want to go there right now. But the light attribute is what we're shooting for here. Enlightened, benevolent leadership, benefiting those in your charge, right? So it is a leadership thing, but it is enlightened. It is benevolent. It is a loving king, not a excessive rulership without restraint, right? To excess. So we've got a very, very tricky one here for the Libras here. How are we going to balance this out? Thankfully, because those are so similar, by the way, because a prince can become a king through inheritance, right? A knight, K-N-I-G-H-T, can become a king, but usually through conquest. So there are different ways to become king, but we are really looking at a very strong connection between these two. And remember, this is romantic, intimate, sexual. This is not within a family structure according to what these spreads are about. So what we're going to do is we're going to clarify with 5 cards from the Daughters of the Moon Tarot for the Prince Divine Feminine, and 5 from the Mythic Tarot for the King Divine Masculine. We're going to do the element spread, fire, earth, air, water, spirit. I'm going to bless both decks. You'll see how I do it. And then we're going to pull 2 cards for each position. You'll see it's lovely and it saves time. Breathe. Here we go. My goddesses, please, the voices of the Divine Feminine Collective, please. Top 5 cards. Element spread. Fire, earth, air, water, spirit for this Divine Feminine Prince archetype. In this Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, satisfying, intimate, sexual, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, soulmate contract for March 2020, or timeless, please. Fire, what does she want? Earth, what does she have to help her get what she wants? Air, what does she think? Water, what does she feel? Spirit, what is the voice or point of view of the soul for this Divine Feminine Prince archetype in this Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign? Happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, sexual, intimate, romantic, soulmate contract, March 2020. Timeless. Please, my goddesses, maiden, mother, hey, crone. Here we go. Mother, crone. We're just going to do the same with the Mythic Tarot, and then we're done with the Tarot. We have other oracles we're going to look at, though. I think you'll like this spread. I'm digging it a lot. I'm definitely using this for my clients. Breathe. My gods, please, the voices of the collective Divine Masculine. Top 5 cards. Element spread, fire, earth, air, water, spirit for this Divine Masculine King archetype. I like this. Oh, I got a good feeling about him. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign in this happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, sexual, romantic, satisfying soulmate contract for March 2020 or timeless, please. Fire, what does he want? Earth, what does he have to help him get what he wants? Air, what is he thinking? Water, what is he feeling? Spirit, what is the voice of or the point of view of his soul? Please, in this contract read, my gods, please. Son, Father, Sage, thank you very much. Everything shuffled for these two. Let's pull some cards. So element of fire, as I said, what is it they desire? They would choose, they would burn for. What do they want? Well, okay. What we've got here for the Prince archetype is the card of criticism. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean nagging, but it's the 8 of blades. Sorry, the 9 of blades. I get that confused in this deck every now and again. So if you think the 9 of blades in the Rider-Waite, it's like, right? You can't sleep, all them swords hanging over your head. This is a little bit different. This is about all these arrows pointing inwards to get to the heart of something, to understand critical focus. So not criticism in terms of like shooting people in the foot or being naggy or being negative, but more like the microscopic point of view down into the detail. Critical care unit always comes to mind. In a critical care unit in a hospital, they're watching everything, right? Every fluctuation of blood oxygen and your pulse. It's not just, your temperature. They're watching every vital statistic that they can find down to the detail. So there's something here about this divine feminine Prince archetype with that potential for power, really wanting to focus on something, perhaps focus on their romantic, intimate, sexual lives, right? That part of their life. Where what we've got here for the King archetype is our first major arcana card, and this is the Hanged Man, Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods to give to humankind and was punished by being hung upside down on a rock and having his liver pecked out by a vulture every day, the liver growing back, so each day the vulture would come back, pick it up more. Now, Definitely punitive here, but that's not really the meaning of the card, the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is always voluntary, right? It's like hang out. I need to change the way I look at things. I need to see things differently, often by inverting myself, right? Completely turning my point of view upside down, seeing it through a different viewpoint, but also a big card of surrender and sacrifice. So the king really does want to give something up, really does want to let something go, perhaps to be with this prince archetype, but certainly they're not seeing correctly right now. There might be a lot of confusion, so there might be a need to kind of shuck stuff off, right? Like to, let me get away from this. I not just the card of the hermit, because that would be the card of the hermit, but I really need to see this differently. There is something voluntary about the Hanged Man that I love. Yes, there are times where the universe will put you in Hanged Man, and we may feel like we're being punished, but it's not punishment. It's because we were already seeing incorrectly, so the universe had to turn everything upside down so that we see clearly. Perhaps our participation in our own suffering psychologically, so that this is in the element of fire. Both of these characters here, the Divine Feminine Prince and the Divine Masculine King, are about seeing things differently, one more in minute detail, and the other in terms of the complete picture, having to surrender their point of view, clarifying, wanting to surrender their point of view because they kind of get that they haven't been seeing clearly, that they might have had some false information that they based a lot of their choices and decisions on as a king, and now realize that wasn't the right information. I need to look at this differently. How can I balance this, right? How can I right what has been done wrong, right? Upright, upside down, that sort of play with that word there. Interesting. So element of earth, what do they have to help them get what they want? Element of fire, like the wax and wick of a candle that keeps the candle flame alight, right? So the Divine Feminine Prince has the Aries card, first sign of the zodiac. Interesting. The Divine Masculine has the King of Cups, the Cancerian card. So while here we are looking at court cards for both of them in the Earth position, sure, these can represent people, but you have people in your life, so the element of earth, what do you have to help you get there? This could be someone who's very much a self-starter for the Divine Feminine Prince here, someone in their life, or more it's about self-care, first sign of the zodiac, Aries, right? If you have any planets, if you're the Divine Feminine, you have any planets in Aries, you might want to look to that. But other words, it's about self-care, self-initiation, love of the self, self-approval, self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, all of that kind of stuff is what's going to help you, like taking care of yourself in order to focus on what's most important for you, even if it is about your, sexual, intimate, romantic, soulmate contracts. It's you focusing on you, taking care of you, loving yourself. And that doesn't mean that you can't have plenty of people in your life who are modeling that for you, both near and far. But there's definitely some self-improvement, self-healing. You get the vibe? With the king, it's interesting that you've got the king and the king here, right? So the king archetype with the King of Cups, this speaks of emotional maturity, right? Cardinal water. Now you got cardinal fire, so that's another connection here. This would be the King of Wands in the Rider-Waite deck, in the traditional tarot. Here it's the Maiden of Flames, the Aries card. So cardinal fire and cardinal water. This cardinal water, this creative water, really of, yes, of course, the Cancerian ruled by the moon, perhaps a little moody going on here, but also an intuitive drive, something kind of kicking in, I'm feeling, for the Divine Masculine King here, that something's off. I made a mistake. Like everything might be fine on the outside, but something's nagging at him emotionally, intuitively, hence the desire to maybe make some sacrifices here and change things around. I have a feeling that some of the perceptions of the king towards the prince have been faulty, perhaps through gossip or other people's toxicity. We'll see what else hits the table, particularly in the air cards that come next. But really needs to like turn things around. That's what it feels like. It's like he's going to have to make some sacrifices to do it. but there's a very strong emotional pull here towards emotional maturity, and the king might have to say, okay, I had excessive feelings of entitlement, and I was just making these decisions, ruling my life without any restraint or consideration for other people, and now it feels like, oh, what have I done? Maybe regret, but also just that intuitive thing of, oh my God, I totally made I made my decision based on faulty information, and it feels like this divine feminine was kind of knowing that a little bit, but now is like really taking care of herself. So if these two have already met and interacted, it might be a little tricky getting them back together, but no one said that soulmate contracts are always easy. They are satisfying, they are symbiotic, they always work themselves out in time, but it's about helping each other heal. Yeah. Let's look at the element of air. This is Libra, right? Air sign. So this should be indicative. Oh, well, we've got the Justice card. There's a scale in it. This is the Libra card, if you're going to have one, in the major arcana. Ma'at, who weighs your heart after you die against an ostrich feather. If it balances or is lighter than the ostrich feather, you get to move on. If it's heavier than the ostrich feather, according to one translation of the Book of the Dead, you just reincarnate. According to another, your soul gets eaten by a demon. Crapshoot, right? What's he got? Oh, yeah. This divine masculine king has the 5 of Wands on his mind. What he's going to have to go through to get the golden fleece, right? He wants this. He definitely has that element of fire, but he's thinking about the trials and tribulations, the battles against maybe his own dragons that he's going to have to conquer in order to make this situation right. You see, in a power dynamic between a prince and a king, the king's going to have the final word, which to me sucks. That's why it's like, I've been the prince. I'm not a king. I don't have any king vibe in me at all. If anything, girl, I'm a queen. And glad to be one. Give me that divine feminine energy. I'd much rather be a feminist than a misogynist any day of the week or year in the decade or century. But it does feel like that this king is just embattled with his own mind, right? Embattled with what he wants, but he may not be able to figure out mentally how to get what he wants without having to face and deal with the conflict of a dragon. Now you look at the 5 of Wands in the traditional tarot, like the Rider-Waite, there are these guys batting around these 5 wands. And it's even been said, it's like, oh, it's a mock battle. They're practicing. You don't practice with a dragon, considering that the prize is the golden fleece of myth, right? So that's of Jason and the Argonauts there. He gets it, but he's going to have to go through at least the mental battles, strategy, trying to figure out how to get what he wants here. Now, I just want to say, definitely this divine feminine prince archetype is thinking about justice and balance and thinking about karma and the divine plan and divine law and, the laws of the universe and all that stuff. So being that there's a strong Libra influence here with the divine feminine, I'm tending to lean that this is more the Libra here. But we'll see. Let's see how else plays this out. And of course, it's going to play out differently across the quantum field of probabilities here for everyone who's watching this. So let's see what's going on in the water, right? That's a huge part of the romantic aspect of a soulmate contract, and he does have that King of Cups. So let's see what's going on with the emotional here, the element of water. 2 major arcana cards for the divine feminine. This is the card of revelation, the card of celebration, the card of judgment in the traditional tarot. Looks like women dancing on a mountaintop, right? A woman's gathering, right? Circle dancing. But if you look again, they are dancing on the belly of the Great Mother, with the breasts in the foreground, the pubic mound in the background, the thighs, right? They're dancing around her navel. So something is revealed intuitively here, emotionally, or there is emotional celebration and revelation, sort of the full circle before the completion of the major arcana cycle with the card of the universe, right? Something is revealed, something is reunited, something emotionally going on here, pieces click into place. in the 90s, they had these 3D pictures that if you stared at them, it just looked like dots and squiggles, but if you looked at them the right way, like a lion would jump out, right? Like those 3D pictures. That's sort of what I'm seeing here. So it feels like looking for details here in the focus, something is revealed, perhaps a deep internal critical analysis of the prince's own interior world reveals some things emotionally that are worthy of celebrating. It's like, oh my God, this is the right thing to do. I did do the right thing. I am, particularly these two next to each other, right? This criticism with the Aries card, really self-inquiry, self-criticism, not necessarily being negative towards oneself, but being really focused on what's my role in this? How do I bring this into balance? How do I do this? Oh, thank you for the word, my goddesses, honorably. There's something about honor going on here with this prince and this king. Because, you know, ordinary person needs honor, but a prince or a king, their honor or dishonor affects many people, at least symbolically speaking. What's going on for him emotionally? Two of Pentacles. He's finding his balance. Two of Pentacles for me is always about balance, right? It's like you've got your tools, you've got your raw materials, but you have to get everything in balance before you begin work. So this is about him becoming emotionally balanced, comfortable with his own feelings and his own skin. And that would make sense why he would need to sort of let some stuff go, sacrifice in order to see things differently and come into emotional balance. Perhaps he has been afraid of getting burned in a relationship because of twin flames. Twin flame relationships lead to soulmates. Twin flames suck, but they will absolutely prepare you to be the mate of your own soul and then the soulmate to many. And by the way, it's easier to be soulmates with friends, right, than it is with lovers, though that's the ones that we want. Definitely trying to bring himself into emotional balance, perhaps even physiological, biochemical, emotional health, that kind of balance, right? There might be some abuse or neglect in his past there that he's needing to balance that out so that does not replay. However, with that card of revelation there for the prince, they can very much help each other heal this. Because he's got, the divine feminine prince has balance on the mind, justice, and he's got that balance more physiologically, physically, I sense, in the emotional field. Remember, there are biological components to emotions. Every time you have emotions, the hypothalamus creates different chemicals and amino acids to match that, right? So endorphin, dopamine, oxytocin, cortisol, on and on and on and on. These are the biochemical components of emotion. So there might be a need to almost like detox some of that, to see all of these feelings differently, particularly if there are wounds in the way from him really feeling his emotions. There might need to be some rebalancing work done there, right? Okay, last for at least these, we've got 5 more cards after these two to clarify, but for the tarot part of it, what's the cards of spirit, the message or the point of view of the soul? The soul is saying to the divine feminine, Ace of Pentacles, a new beginning, a new potential is dawning here. Get ready. Whether it's with this divine masculine king or not, definitely the soul is saying there is a new seed about to arrive here, that there's a new potential, a fresh start here, a fresh opportunity here in this contract. Oh my God, he's got the Ace of Wands. All right, they both got aces. And this is a very phallic card. This is Zeus himself, the king. Oh my God, you've got the king. They even look alike. They even look alike, these two cards. So you've got Zeus, the Ace of Wands. Look, he really wants... This easily sounds like, by the way, a male homosexual relationship, because we're talking about a king and a prince, right? It sounds like there's this huge age gap. We're not talking about gender. We're not talking about age. We're talking about different forms of power, different flavors here. The king wants this prince, like it is a fire, come here, a fire element, considering on his mind, again, is that 5 of Wands, the battles that he's going to have to go through mentally. He might be battling himself mentally about it, because it's like one foot on the gas, one foot on the brake. I want it, but I don't know. I want it, but I don't know. Hence the sacrificial energy there. Really needs to bring himself into emotional balance, because his emotions are not going to let up until they get balanced. Very interesting contract we've got going on here for these two. So there are our element spreads. Let's get these out of the way, and we are going to clarify with 5 more cards, 2 of which from the Healing with the Angels Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue. Healing with the Angels. So what are the angels that are walking with this Divine Feminine Prince and this Divine Masculine King archetype, right? Because we all have angels walking with us in terms of celestial healing forces. So this is what's working and walking with them individually, but that also they are contributing to this soulmate contract, whether they have met or not, right? So let's do this. Breathe. My angels, please, 2 cards. One for this Divine Feminine Prince and one for this Divine Masculine King in this Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, sexual, intimate, romantic, satisfying soulmate contract for March 2020 or timeless, please. One for the Divine Feminine face down, one for the Divine Masculine face down. Let's see what angels are working with them. The card of balance. And balance. And balance. All right, it's such a Libra read, man. Whew. So the angel of balance, this Prince archetype, their main focus is then coming into balance, their own healing, right? And from that comes great celebration and revelation. Emotionally, of course, that balance works very well with this card of justice. Perhaps this divine feminine prince balancing their own honor, their own boundaries, what's right and just, hence that word justice, what's just, what's true, what's right for them, but really focusing on the self, bringing himself into balance. I'm saying himself because it's the prince, herself. There is no princess card in this deck, but the difference between the prince and the princess archetype is pretty huge. Princess archetype, Caroline didn't even make one because she said the princess archetype is phasing out quickly, regardless of Disney's attempt to keep it alive. What's going on then? Who's the angel for this Divine Masculine King? Focus. And I get that. I get that focus, particularly the mental focus. A lot of focus in thinking about the strategy of how to overcome the conflicts. He might be with somebody else. Might very well be that. It might be a king with a queen, wants to walk away with the prince. Now, I know that sounds a little bit like a guy who's married to a woman who wants to be with another guy who's younger. Lord knows that's happened on planet Earth thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of times. But that, I don't necessarily care about the gender here. This could just as easily both be women. We're looking at energetic dynamic here. But with that card of focus, there's gotta be a change of focus, a near 180-degree reversal in terms of focus, particularly if there was any excessive feelings of entitlement, rulership without restraint, to completely turn that upside down to become enlightened, benevolent, and benefiting those in his charge. And let's be clear, a king would have a prince in their charge. Let's ask the higher selves of each of them. Higher selves of all involved, the higher self collective, with the Whispers of Love Oracle. Nice deep breath, please. The higher selves of all involved, please. 2 cards, one for this Divine Feminine Prince archetype, one for this Divine Masculine King archetype in this Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, sexual, intimate, romantic, satisfying soulmate contract for March 2020 or timeless, please. One for this Divine Feminine Prince. One, please, higher selves of all involved for this Divine Masculine King. I love this deck. It comes right out and says it a lot of the time. For the Prince, the message is the whisper of love. Spend some quality time together. It is imperative. Isn't that funny? Imperative, a word used for the imperial, right? The king and the queen and the prince and the princess. It is imperative that we spend quality time with those we are in significant relationship with, listening to and talking to each other. So if this is me, this does feel an awful lot like me. I'm not really dating anybody right now, seriously. I mean, I'll go out on a date here and there for coffee, but to me it's all about getting to know each other, because I'm not jumping into shit at 51 years old, right? So there's just a lot of wisdom there in that card. Spend some quality time together. What's this king got? Focus on love. Focus on love. Look for the good attributes in each and every person in your life, and that is maybe part of what's going to facilitate what he wants, this hanged man of really seeing the good in everybody involved here. What are the positive attributes? Maybe he was so focused on how it could go wrong, how he might get eaten by the dragon, consumed, as it were, destroyed, right? That the gold might not be worth it, that golden fleece might not be worth it. But if he looks for the good attributes in each and every person in his life, he will be given that new perspective and perhaps be freed from being chained to that rock. Something pecking away at him. Something emotionally, intuitively, psychologically pecking away at him, like that vulture pecking away at his liver, which is solar plexus. So if the divine masculine is having upset stomach, right, that's denied intuition. That's violation of honor code. Carolyn Mace, Anatomy of the Spirit, brilliant book. Go check it out. Because the divine masculines are having quite the time of it. The divine feminines have had, the past 100 years, that's way shorter than that, I'm sure, this opportunity to gently rise like a tide. The divine masculines are really having the struggle of it because everything's coming into balance right now. Fascinating read. One card left, though. And then we'll do your overview. I'll pop up the picture of the whole spread, because once all the cards are on the table, other things reveal themselves, right? So we are going to use a count 'em one, Healing Mantra deck card by Matt Kahn. The healing mantra, where it won't matter if you are the divine masculine or the divine feminine here. If you use the mantra, it will help you heal yourself individually. It is, after all, a healing mantra card, but will also help you heal the relationship, whether you know each other, have met each other, have been together and broke up, coming together, whatever this is, it will help you heal each other. Shall we? Nice deep breath. The voices of the Ascended Masters, please. My Ascended Masters of Soulmate contracts, please. One card in clarity for this Libra collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign in this happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, romantic, satisfying, sexual soulmate contract for March 2020 or timeless, please. What is the perfect healing mantra for them, my Ascended Masters of Soulmate contracts? One side of the card is the name of the mantra, the other side the mantra itself, and that's all that's written on these, which is why I'm going to look it up in the bookie book. And what did they get? Creating cooperation. Man, a prince and a king together. Okay, by the way, a prince can be in charge of their own principality. That's where that word principality comes from. More gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. More gets accomplished when everybody has a role to play. Creating cooperation. Just think of that. The divine masculine activated within a divine feminine in order to cooperate with a king who's going through his own emotional balancing process here. This is very on point for where we are in the collective of humanity right now. So let me read this one for you. Creating cooperation. God, I'm having like electric company flashbacks from my childhood. Creating cooperation. More gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. Yes, I am Generation X. When cooperation is created, the unity of all is accessed to accomplish more in one moment than any one person can do alone. So it feels like the Divine Feminine Prince and the Divine Masculine King have been trying to do all this stuff on their own, right? Here, the divine, the Divine Feminine with that Aries card, and here with this King of Cups trying to balance himself and see things differently. As a creator of cooperation, you are giving others the right to contribute, which only broadens the effect of collective expression. There's going to be a meeting of the minds here, and mostly a meeting of the wills as well. Like, they're going to want to work on this together. Once cooperation is created, all facades of competition melt away, allowing each individual to feel a renewed depth of self-worth by serving a vision greater than any degree of individual gain. So it feels like if these two had met each other, it did not go well, and they kind of had to pull apart and then work on themselves. This feels like a coming back together. Or if they've never met, this is all preamble to them meeting. I don't feel like they are together because of the nature of the Hanged Man and that Aries card there of taking care of the self, coming into balance. A lot of internal stuff both sides here. Last little bit. This mantra is ideal for enhancing teamwork. Makes sense. Transforming family dynamics, perhaps both of theirs individually, and increasing inner peace, which feels like it's going to allow them both to de-escalate a little bit and cooperate together in this relationship. Let's look at the overview, see what else pops. Shall we? Breathe. Magic clap. Because we've got this Divine Feminine Prince archetype, shadow attribute, using power for self-aggrandizement, relying more on grandiosity than the grandeur of the soul, right? The light attribute, romantic charm and potential for power, but has there been actualization of power? Well, in his element of fire, we've got the Nine of Blades, a real deep introspection, maybe even self-inquiry as to her own motives. Again, I'm using him and her here fluidly because we've got a Divine Feminine Prince archetype. And it does make sense that this is introspection, because what she has, please pardon me with that, with this Maiden of Flames, which would be the King of Wands in traditional tarot, about the self. Yes, there may be a person in this Divine Feminine Prince archetype's life that is modeling that for them, teaching them that, leading them through that, but really this feels more about deep introspection, focusing on the self, healing the self. Because we've got Ma'at, the card of balance and justice here, major arcana, which is perfect for a Libra reading, but that is balancing the mind, focusing on justice, what's fair, what is unfair, what is honorable, what is dishonorable. Here in the intuitive field, the emotional field of water, we have got the card of celebration, the card of judgment. Something is revealed. A larger picture is shown here, a larger context, perhaps one, because it's major arcana, more divine and mystical in nature than just emotional, but there might be a strong intuitive pull to sort of bring this soul contract together. And what is the voice of the soul for the Divine Feminine Prince is the Ace of Pentacles, right? A new opportunity, a new beginning. Definitely a new start here if these two have already met each other, and if not, a very, very healthy seed potential that can be grown into something if they do the work. The healing angel here is the card of balance, right? The angel of balance. So certainly it feels like this Divine Feminine Prince archetype is bringing herself into an internal-external balance with her own yin and yang in order to bring some of that potential for power into action. And as far as what she needs to do to proceed, the higher self says spend some quality time together. It is imperative that you spend quality time with those you are in significant relationship with, listening and talking to each other. So that feels really, really lovely, very healthy, and very balanced. Jumping over to the Divine Masculine King archetype in the shadow, excessive feelings of entitlement, which can come from being wounded in the past, right? Rulership without restraint can be a narcissistic wound in place here. I mean, kings are sort of known for being narcissistic. That is the shadow side of it, but we don't always get the pain that they're in because of emotional neglect in their own past that has gone unaddressed. Maybe part of that Hanged Man is part of that, turning that right side up, because the light attribute, enlightened, benevolent leadership, benefiting those in his charge. So that probably is going to take a big Hanged Man moment to move from that shadow to light, and that moment might be more than a hot second. Because with the Hanged Man in the fire position, there is a willingness, there is a desire to see this differently, in a way to turn things upside down, to upend the apple cart, in order to be freed. But also there is an aspect of not just surrender but sacrifice I'm feeling with this, that may have to let go of an entire schemata of their lives in order to be healthy and move forward and see things clearly and essentially be emotionally balanced. Because we've got in his element of earth the King of Cups, that what he has is his own emotional rulership, his ability to be emotionally mature here, reflecting to his position of water with that Two of Pentacles, coming into balance emotionally in a mature way. While on his mind is this Five of Wands, the battles he's going to have to go through, the struggles that he's going to have to go through to get what he wants, but they are necessary, and a king can do that, but he needs to have his strategy in place and his emotions balanced, as indicated in that Two of Pentacles, as we had discussed previously. But what's the voice of the soul? Just like the Divine Feminine Prince has the Ace of Pentacles, the Divine Masculine King has the Ace of Wands. So there is definitely a sexual spark here, a spark of desire, a spark of at least inspiration, that if these two do know each other, I feel like the potential is huge. But will potential, like potential for power, will it be actualized? Well, the Divine Masculine King has the Angel of Focus here. So if he's been escaping through busy work, if he's been escaping through diversification, now is the time to focus. And focus on what? Well, says the higher self, focus on love. Look for the good attributes in each and every person in your life. And what does that lead to? The healing mantra of creating cooperation. More gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. So whether you are the Divine Feminine Prince or the Divine Masculine King, royal couple that you are here. By the way, this is very Zeus and Ganymede. I would look that up too. More gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. Work that mantra for yourselves individually, because I have a feeling it's going to bring the two of you together to do great things. Really neat, Libra. Kind of glad I got Venus in Libra. I would love to date a king. I've been screwing around with knights for decades. Knights are always on quests. I need a king, right? Why? Oh, queen, please. They're stunning. It's always good to have a drag fan handy, right? So let me give you the blessing. May the Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that they need in their happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, romantic, sexual, satisfying soulmate contracts for March 2020 or timeless. That they may heal, that they may grow, that they may get all that they need within themselves to come into balance, so obviously seen in this reading, within themselves, so that together they come together and make a more royal, a more regal, a more service-based balance for their well-being individually, together, and for the well-being of all. May they be so blessed. Ah, so mote it be. And so it is. Thank you so much for watching my Libra collectives, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Again, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment, because I see how this could play out, and I have an idea of who this might be, but I'm willing to what? Take it easy, focus on me, allow what revelations that come to unfold as they do for the well-being of all. And I wish the very best and the very blessed for you as well, my Libra collectives. Keep it in balance. But for now, hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be.